I didn't trip, my legs just gave up. Mr. Harold, 76, didn't fall because he lost his balance. He fell because his legs stopped obeying him. A retired high school teacher from Des Moines, Harold had always been proud of his independence. He still ironed his shirts every morning, read the paper with his coffee, and made his famous banana pancakes for his granddaughter every Sunday. But that night, something changed. At 2:43 a.m., a violent cramp seized his left calf like a vice. He gasped, sat up, and tried to stand. Nothing moved. His legs were stiff, frozen, refusing to hold his weight. Panicking, he dragged himself out of bed, across the hallway, and collapsed beside the living room couch, clutching his leg, trembling, alone in the dark. He didn't scream. He didn't call 911. He just sat there, breathing fast, heart pounding, wondering if this was the beginning of the end. It was, but it was a warning. When Harold visited his doctor that week, he expected medication, something to make the pain go away. Instead, the doctor said something that would stay with him. You don't need pills. You need to change what's on your plate. That's what this video is about. If you're over 60 and your legs cramp at night, if you wake up gripping your calves in pain or feel them shake when you try to stand up, this isn't just aging. It's your body asking for help. And today, you're going to learn how to listen. In the next few minutes, we'll walk you through 3 powerful foods that don't just stop leg cramps, but actually rebuild your strength from the inside. You'll understand why those midnight spasms happen, how your diet might be making them worse, and what you can do, starting today, to take control again. Because what Harold discovered in the weeks after that night changed everything. And it all started with breakfast. Let's begin. Leg cramps don't just happen. They're a knock on the door from your nervous system. That's what Harold's doctor told him as he looked over the blood work. Your legs are not failing you, he said gently. They're just running low on what they need to function. At 76, Harold hadn't changed much about his diet. Toast and black coffee in the morning, a turkey sandwich for lunch, and some soup at night. Nothing terrible, but nothing deeply nourishing either. And what Harold didn't know was that his body, like most people past 60, was slowly losing its grip on the very minerals that kept his muscles working. Here's the part no one tells you. Every time your leg cramps in the middle of the night, it's because your muscle is trying to contract and relax, but it can't complete the cycle. That cycle depends on 3 key minerals: magnesium, potassium, and calcium. Magnesium helps the muscle relax. Potassium allows it to contract. Calcium coordinates the signal between nerve and muscle. Without enough of these, your nervous system sends a faulty message. Your calf tightens and won't let go, and the pain that wakes you up, that's your body crying out for balance. Harold had no idea that the 2 cups of coffee he drank daily were quietly depleting his magnesium, or that his low-sodium diet, while good for his heart, was also flushing potassium out faster than his meals could replenish it. And like many older adults, he was taking a mild diuretic for blood pressure, not realizing it was draining his body of electrolytes drop by drop. A study published in the New England Journal of Medicine revealed that over 70% of seniors are magnesium deficient, yet most never suspect it. They chalk up the fatigue, the twitches, the nighttime cramps to just getting old. But age isn't the villain here. It's the silent loss of minerals, the kind that no pill alone can fix if the diet isn't right. And one of the biggest mistakes: drinking plain water all day without replenishing electrolytes. Yes, water is essential, but water without minerals can dilute what little your body has left. It's like watering a plant and washing the nutrients right out of the soil. Harold's turning point came when he replaced one of his daily coffees with warm water and a pinch of sea salt and lemon. It wasn't a magic fix, but over the weeks, his nighttime cramps lessened. His muscles stopped clenching in protest, and more importantly, he felt something he hadn't felt in months: steadier. So what did Harold do next? He reached for a food that's quietly saving thousands of seniors from painful cramps, and you might already have it in your kitchen: Let's talk about the first food that helped Harold take back control of his legs. You don't need a supplement. Half an avocado a day can do what pills can't. That was the first thing Harold's nutritionist said when reviewing his blood work. No long prescriptions, no expensive treatments. Just a small green fruit that had quietly disappeared from Harold's grocery list sometime in his early 60s. For years, he had avoided avocados. Too fatty, he thought. Not sweet enough. Bananas always seemed like the safer option. But what he didn't know was that while bananas may help with cramps, they also carry over 14 grams of sugar in one serving. Avocados, less than one. And yet they deliver more potassium, more magnesium, and something even more valuable for aging muscles: stability. At 76, Harold didn't need a sugar spike before bed. He needed balance. And avocados gave him just that. Rich in monounsaturated fats, they helped keep his blood sugar steady through the night. No crashes. No silent insulin surges that often trigger cramps in the early morning hours. Just calm, steady nourishment. Inside that soft green flesh were two of the minerals his body had been desperately missing. Magnesium, to relax the muscles, and potassium, to help them contract smoothly. Together, they acted like a natural rhythm tuner for his nervous system. Instead of waking up in pain, Harold began waking up rested. No spasms, no shocks in his calves, just stillness. And it wasn't just about the cramps. Those healthy fats helped him absorb fat-soluble vitamins like D, E, and K, which are crucial for older adults, but often go unused without the right carriers. Plus, avocados contain small amounts of vitamin B6 and folate, both essential for mood and brain function. As Harold said one morning while slicing his avocado in half, "I don't just feel less pain. I feel more like myself." Now he keeps things simple. Half an avocado with a pinch of sea salt and a drizzle of olive oil, sometimes on toast, sometimes right from the spoon. What matters is not how fancy it looks. What matters is consistency, a ritual that tells the body, "I'm listening to you now." And Harold didn't stop there. Once his cramps began to ease, he turned his attention to another root of the problem, one that had been in his pantry all along, waiting to restore the energy he thought was lost to age. Let's talk about the next food that helped Harold rebuild his legs from the inside out. You're not sleeping poorly because you're tired. You're sleeping poorly because your muscles are starving. That's what Harold's daughter told him one night after she stayed over and heard him shifting in bed every hour. "Dad, I think it's not just the cramps, it's your body running on empty." She was right. His dinner that night: a bowl of soup and half a sandwich. No real fuel, no minerals, no slow-burning energy, just enough to feel full but not enough to keep his body running through the night. That's when Harold reintroduced something his grandmother used to cook every Sunday: sweet potatoes. Not as a dessert, not mashed with marshmallows, but roasted, golden, simple. And what a difference it made. Unlike white potatoes or white rice, sweet potatoes offer a steady stream of complex carbohydrates that break down slowly, supplying the body with glycogen, the stored energy that muscles rely on during rest. What most people don't realize is that low nighttime blood sugar is one of the leading triggers of leg cramps, especially in adults over 60. When blood sugar crashes, the nervous system panics. Muscles clench, sleep gets interrupted, and your body starts sending alarm bells through your calves. Sweet potatoes prevent that crash. They stabilize energy levels and provide essential minerals like magnesium, potassium, and calcium, all in a form your body recognizes. Harold began baking them for dinner 3 nights a week. A drizzle of olive oil, a sprinkle of turmeric and black pepper, nothing fancy. But the results were undeniable. Not only did his cramps subside, but he also noticed fewer mood swings, steadier energy during the day, and even clearer skin. That's no coincidence. Sweet potatoes are loaded with beta-carotene, a powerful antioxidant that supports eye health, skin renewal, and immune strength, 3 things that naturally decline with age. Compared to white potatoes, they're gentler on the blood sugar. Compared to bread or rice, they deliver more fiber and antioxidants. And unlike processed snacks, they don't inflame your joints or leave you craving more. But here's the key. Timing. Harold learned not to eat them too late. A serving around 6 or 7 p.m. gave his body enough time to digest, absorb, and settle into rest. No bloating, no sugar crash. Just nourishment that worked while he slept. And perhaps the most powerful lesson came one morning when Harold told his granddaughter, "I didn't wake up once last night." She smiled, not because she understood the science, but because she saw the difference in his eyes, in his posture, in his peace. Of course, food is only part of the picture. And while sweet potatoes gave Harold the fuel he needed, there was still one more missing ingredient, small, easy to overlook, yet powerful enough to stop a cramp before it starts. Let's talk about it next. This natural magnesium pill helped Harold sleep 6 straight hours without being woken by pain. It wasn't a prescription. It wasn't a powder. It wasn't even something from the supplement aisle. It was a handful of pumpkin seeds, the kind you might scoop from a fresh pumpkin and toss away. But for Harold, 76, they became part of his quiet evening ritual, and the reason he finally slept through the night without that sharp cramp twisting his leg awake at 3 a.m. What makes pumpkin seeds so powerful is their mineral density in such a small form. Just 1 ounce gives you up to 40% of your daily magnesium, plus a healthy dose of zinc and plant-based protein. Magnesium, as Harold learned, plays a key role in calming the nervous system and relaxing overworked muscles. And as we age, our ability to store and absorb magnesium declines, especially when stress, medications, or caffeine are part of our routine. But magnesium isn't working alone. Zinc helps repair nerve tissue, regulate hormones, and reduce inflammation. That combination is why Harold's muscles didn't just feel looser at night. They recovered faster after activity, stayed calmer during rest, and responded better during the day. Harold didn't need to change much. Just a small glass jar on his kitchen counter filled with raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds. In the afternoon, around 3 p.m. when his energy dipped, he'd grab a handful. Sometimes he added them to oatmeal. Other days, they landed on a spinach salad with a dash of olive oil. And when he wanted a bit more flavor, he paired them with a square of dark chocolate or a slice of orange, letting the vitamin C boost the absorption of the minerals even further. One evening, as he was watching the news, Harold felt a familiar tension creep into his calves, but this time it faded. No cramp, no stumble to the bathroom, just a quiet sense of relief. "It's strange," he said, "how something so small can make such a big difference." But it wasn't strange at all. It was nourishment, simple, targeted, and consistent. That's what his body had been missing, not more medications, just real minerals from real food. By now, Harold had rebuilt the foundation of his legs with 3 simple tools: avocado, sweet potato, and pumpkin seeds. But there was still one mistake he was making without realizing it. One habit that drained his progress quietly day after day. And odds are you might be making it too. Let's uncover it together. Harold drank 2 liters of water every day, but he still had cramps. Why? It wasn't a lack of water. It was a lack of salt. For months, Harold thought he was doing the right thing. Every morning, he filled up his big blue water bottle and made sure it was empty by dinner. He even cut back on coffee and soda. "Stay hydrated," the nurse had said, and he did, faithfully. But the cramps never stopped. His legs still tightened at night. His energy still dipped by mid-afternoon. What Harold didn't know is something most people over 60 don't realize either. Just drinking water isn't enough. In fact, too much plain water without minerals can make things worse. It's like trying to refill a car battery with distilled water. It dilutes the essential charges that keep it running. Inside our bodies, those charges are called electrolytes: magnesium, potassium, calcium, and sodium. Without them, muscles don't contract properly, nerves misfire, and cramps become more frequent. The problem is, after 60, our sense of thirst weakens. We stop feeling the signal, even when the body is drying out. We also lose fluids constantly through breath, skin, and even during sleep. So while Harold was drinking water, he wasn't replenishing what his body was actually losing. No minerals, no balance, just more dilution. His turning point came after a short conversation with a retired physical therapist at church. "Try this," the man said, handing Harold a small bottle of pink salt. "Just a pinch in your water, and add lemon if you like. Your legs will thank you." That afternoon, Harold added a few grains of Himalayan salt and a slice of lemon to his water. The taste was subtle, but the impact was real. Within a few days, he noticed fewer cramps. His digestion felt smoother. He didn't wake up as dry in the morning. And perhaps most surprisingly, he felt more alert, even into the evening. Now he makes it part of his daily rhythm. Around 2 p.m., when his body starts to slow down, he drinks a glass of this homemade electrolyte mix. Some days, he swaps it with a small glass of coconut water, especially after gardening or walking. It wasn't about drinking more. It was about drinking smart. And with every glass, Harold was no longer draining his system. He was refueling it. Still, there was one final piece of the puzzle he hadn't addressed. A small evening habit that could either protect his legs or provoke another sleepless night. And it had nothing to do with food or water, but everything to do with movement. Let's take a closer look. It's not food. It's not medicine. Just a few quiet minutes, but it can change your entire night. Harold had tried everything by the time his daughter suggested one last idea. "Dad, just stretch 5 minutes before bed." He shrugged at first. Stretching? At my age? But that night, just before turning off the lights, he stood by his bedroom wall, took a deep breath, and began. 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Calves tight. He leaned in, held it for 20 seconds, then switched sides. No rush. No pressure, just breath and movement. Then he sat at the edge of the bed, rolled his ankles, flexed his toes, and circled his arms slowly like he was drawing in the air. To his surprise, he slept through. What Harold discovered that night is something simple yet powerful. Muscles that move before sleep relax more deeply during rest. Gentle stretching increases blood flow, clears out acid buildup like lactic acid, and resets the nervous system. It's like telling the body, "We're done for the day, you can rest now." For Harold, it became a ritual. Just 5 minutes around 9:30 p.m. he started with a wall stretch for his calves, then a slow hamstring reach from a seated position. He would end by placing both hands over his stomach, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. And sometimes, when his legs felt especially heavy, he added a simple touch. A light rub of magnesium oil over his calves or lavender balm on the soles of his feet. The scent calmed him. The massage softened the tension. Together, it became more than a routine. It became a signal to his brain that it was safe to let go. The result? Fewer spasms, fewer wake-ups, more clarity in the morning. And for Harold, more confidence to get through the day without that quiet fear of pain waiting at 2 a.m. By now, Harold had rebuilt his nights. One choice, one stretch, one bite at a time. But there was still one final truth he had to face. A mistake millions make, and it could quietly erase all his progress if left unchecked. Let's bring it all together. Chronic stress doesn't just exhaust your mind. It silently drains magnesium from your body, one trip to the bathroom at a time. Harold didn't feel particularly anxious. He didn't pace the floor or talk to himself. But every night, he did the same thing. After brushing his teeth, he'd sit on the couch and flip through the news. Headlines about disasters, health scares, and the rising cost of living filled the screen. Sometimes, he didn't even realize how tense his shoulders had become until his legs started to twitch. And by the time he laid down, his mind was still scrolling, still bracing. What Harold didn't know is that stress, even the kind we think we're handling well, raises cortisol, the body's main stress hormone. An elevated cortisol triggers the kidneys to flush out magnesium, a mineral essential for calming nerves and relaxing muscles. So even if he ate the right foods, stretched, hydrated, and avoided sugar, stress was still undoing his efforts. Quietly, night after night. That explained a lot. The cramps that returned after family arguments, the heavy legs after watching back-to-back news clips, the exhaustion that sleep couldn't fix. So Harold changed one thing, not his dinner, not his supplements, his evening rhythm. 1 hour before bed he made a rule: no news, no emails, no glowing screens. Instead, he opened the same book he had started 3 months ago and never finished. He lit a candle. He played soft instrumental music in the background. Some nights he made a small mug of chamomile tea with a drop of honey. Other nights he just sat by the window and watched the wind move the trees. It didn't fix everything overnight, but his sleep deepened, his legs stayed calm, and most importantly, his thoughts slowed. That's the part most people overlook. You can feed your body all the right things, but if your mind is still in fight or flight mode, your nervous system never gets the message to rest. So here's the question Harold had to ask himself, and maybe you should too. Are you actually resting? Or are you just lying down, waiting for the next cramp to strike? Because once Harold found the answer to that, he realized the final truth behind leg cramps. And it had nothing to do with aging. It had everything to do with choices. Small, quiet choices made one evening at a time. Let's bring it all home. 30 days later, Harold no longer woke up clutching his legs in pain. He woke up with gratitude in his chest for still being able to stand, to walk, to move forward on his own terms. What changed wasn't a miracle drug or a surgery. It was quiet, deliberate care. He added half an avocado to breakfast. He swapped bread for roasted sweet potatoes at dinner. He kept a small jar of pumpkin seeds near his reading chair. He drank water, yes, but this time with a pinch of sea salt and a slice of lemon. He stretched. He breathed. He turned off the noise and turned inward instead. 4 foods, 3 habits, 1 transformation. What Harold learned, and what I hope you'll carry with you, is that nighttime cramps are not just about age. They're about imbalance. And more often than not, they're about what we've forgotten to give ourselves. Not just nutrients, but attention. Not just routines, but rest. So if your legs have been speaking to you lately with pain or weakness, maybe this is the moment to listen. Don't wait until you're gripping the wall just to steady yourself. Start while you still have the choice, while your body still answers back. And if you have a parent, a grandparent, or someone you love who quietly suffers through the night, please share this video with them. Sometimes one message, one shift can change how someone sleeps, walks, or feels for the rest of their life. This isn't about chasing youth, it's about preserving freedom. One stretch, one bite, one breath at a time. You still have time. You still have power. And your legs, they're waiting for you to remember that.